Welcome back to Comics with Drew. I'm Drew, and it's time to talk about Spider-Man tweener issues. All right, so these are worse than filler issues. I'm not going to talk about this book because it's a good book, because it's honestly not really a good book. It's not bad. It's not great. This is obviously the Amazing Spider-Man 92.bey or Bay, but not like Hey Bay. It's more like Beyond, because it's a story for Beyond, and it's like a filler story between the main Spider-Man books. Now, you'll notice here, like on regular Spider-Man books, you'll see that there's an LGY number for the number underneath the number, and that's basically saying that this is like an official Spider-Man book, right? And I have mentioned before that $5 for a normal book like Action here is stupid, because what they're doing is they're doing like these backdoor stories here, and they're saying that this backdoor story justifies the extra dollar, right? But here's the thing. I'm not buying a backstory. I'm not buying a supplemental story. I'm buying Action Comics because I want to read about Superman, right? So DC has basically, I don't have this on my pull anymore. As you can see, this is, I'm not even sure what they're up to right now, but this is 10:30, and I stopped buying it. I took it off my pull because, I don't want to spend $5 for a book that's going to sneak attack some crazy weirdness in the back of the book. And I hate being forced to buy something or basically subsidize something that's not good. Now, sometimes you'll get a good story. A lot of times you won't get a good story. A lot of times you'll get a stupid story. So DC has been doing this, and it's basically, in my opinion, as far as I'm concerned, it has hurt DC's business, because I don't have any of the major DC books on pull except for Batman directly, because I just love Batman that much. But, I might otherwise have been buying Action, and if there was a standard Superman, I would have been buying that. I don't buy Superman Son of Kal-El. That's stupid. But basically, I would have been buying a regular Superman, and I would have been buying a regular detective. But, I already have issues with, the way the direction that Action's going and the direction that Detective is going. And I'm not going to spend an extra dollar to subsidize that, for sure. I might take a flyer on it and buy it anyway, much like I did with World's Finest here. So World's Finest, right? That's $4. That's not $5. It's got Superman and Batman, and it looks amazing, and it's like a regular comic book price, okay? So that's great. This, however, $5 for this, no thank you, right? So I say that to come back to The Amazing Spider-Man. I started collecting this volume of Spider-Man, which is about ready to be over. I started collecting. It's like, oh, great. This is, I was in a position where I could start buying comics on a regular basis again. And I said, okay, there's a brand new volume 1. It's got Ryan Otley on it, and, it looks fantastic. And Nick Spencer. And so I'm going to start buying it. And so I started buying it. And one day I come in to the comic shop, and then they've got this extra book in there, and at this point, I'm spending $50 a month in comics, which I know is not a lot for some people, but for me, at the point, it's like, I don't know if I want to be spending all this much money, because it's like every week there's like another Spider book, which is fine. I mean, I love Spider-Man, but I was like, all right. So I said to the guy, it's like, what's the deal with this? It was Hunted. It was like the Hunted storyline. What's this deal with .hun? Because I think it was like 19.hun or something like that. I'm not entirely certain, but the guy at the comic shop goes, oh, well, this is just like, it's part of the story. I'm like, if it's part of the story, it should be in the book. I believe in editing. So I think editors have a job, and what their job should be is saying, hey, writer, Mr. Writer or Ms. Writer, or just whatever writer, you need to tighten this up. And if you got something to say, you need to find a way to say it so that it's great. So, there have been some tweener books where, especially in like the Beyond series, where, you have some established characters and they go on, some side of an adventure. but it's not really that important. And the reason I know it's not important is because if it were, it would have a legacy number on it and it would be part of the main story. It's just irritating to me because while DC is saying, hey, spend an extra dollar and here's an extra story, Marvel is like saying, hey, this is an amazing Spider-Man book. And it's like, well, if you're a Spider-Man completionist, like I know a lot of you out there are, you're like, I've got to get them all. I got to catch them all. I got to get all the Amazing Spider-Man. And I am guilty of the same charge. So I'm like, well, it's Amazing Spider-Man. And Amazing Spider-Man's on my pull. So they put this book in my pull and they say, here you go. Here's a new Spider-Man. And it's not Spider-Man, right? It's like some side quest mission with characters I don't give a damn about. So it's really a rock and a hard place, okay? So if you are on a tight budget and you don't want to read side quests and stuff like that, you can just stick with the main, 91, 92, 93, etc. Or you can, splurge and do the 92.bey. But for me, here's another problem, right? This book doesn't need to exist. And while they're getting me to spend $4.99 for this book, that's $3.99 I could have spent on a different Marvel title, right? So, we talk about, we want to make sure that we have, more representation in comics. And so here's another book that also has different representation. And we want this character to get, a lot more, play and a lot more attention. And it's like, well, maybe I would buy that random other book if I wasn't already spending money for this stupid thing, right? And again, I'm not saying that this particular issue is stupid. I'm just using this as an example of what I'm talking about. Actually, there's something in this book that actually does irritate me. So, on a side note, a little sidetrack here, there you are, 4 skulls and crossbones, all right? Okay, I'm like, this is a new thing, where they get cute little icons or emojis or whatever to signify that they're swearing, right? Okay, this is Monica Rambeau swearing, right? So then we go, I'm like, okay, fine. But then we go, because I'm a more skulls and crossbones. And I was like, okay, all right, so that's 1, okay, and 2. So we've done 1 and 2, right? That's 1, that's 2. Are we done? Of course we're not done. We got another blank here. And then I came here because you're a blank and you're my blank. It's like, come on, dude. So, I know you can write because here's some other words here. And here's some other words here. And here's some other words here. And here's some other words here. So why don't you come up with a word that you can use here instead of basically giving me something that doesn't mean anything, all right? I don't want to fill in the blank. This isn't, interactive comic booking. just put a word there. You're a jerk. There you are, you jerk. There you are, you, turd blossom. Yeah, I mean, you could come up with anything right there. It doesn't have to be profane, right? And this is, I guess, McKee's way of, or is it McKee or McKay? I don't know. But this is Zeb's way, right? I think it is Zeb, right? Is this Zeb? This is Jed. Excuse me, Jed. Okay. Zeb Wells is one of the writers. So Jed McKay, Cody Ziegler, and Zeb Wells. One of you 3 individuals is doing this. Okay. Knock it off. Right. Just give us the name. But anyway, just give us the word. So these Amazing Spider-Man tweener books, Marvel's already putting out like what, 30, 40 books a month. It seems like. Just give us the story. Just narrow it down. Make it concise. Give us the actual story and make it awesome. Make every issue awesome. So you're not forcing us. I know you're not forcing us, but forcing us, air quotes, to buy something or subsidize something that's stupid. Because this is Marvel, I think, taking advantage of people, saying, especially, hey, you Spider-Man fans that have been buying Spider-Man books for decades, if you want to be a completionist, you need to get this, other Spider-Man thing, which is not really Spider-Man, but it's kind of Spider-Man. It's like, guys, really, I read this book. I don't think I don't believe this book really adds anything at all to the story, honestly, to tell you the truth. I don't think that it really adds anything to the story. So I wanted to do a video about this because it's like, well, DC is, trying to screw you by making you subsidize stupid stuff like this, right? With the sneaky little price cover, but they're actually kind of forcing you to actually buy the actual main title. Marvel is a little slyer, but at the same time, I mean, I don't know, they're giving you the option to not buy this book if you don't want to, but at the same time, it's like, what if something sneaky happens in here? What if they throw in like a first appearance of a character? You don't know. It's really passive aggressive, and I don't like it. So hopefully with this new volume, they're gonna knock that off, but I doubt it. Because why would you knock something off if you can still make some money doing it? So I honestly, to tell you the truth, I long for the days where there was one book out 1 month, January edition of Spider-Man, February edition of Spider-Man, and they didn't run like 3 months in advance. So here's the July issue of Spider-Man in March. It's like, guys, come on. It's like, but maybe I'm a traditionalist. Maybe I'm just getting too old. But that's my rant for today. I don't really have anything else. Here you go, The Amazing Spider-Man with Monica Rambeau and a Spider-Man picture. But I'm pretty sure there's no Spider-Man in this book at all. Yeah. No Spider-Man there. No Spider-Man there. Is there any Spider-Man? Looking for Spider-Man. Is any Spider-Man available? Any Spider-Man? There's no Spider-Man in this book. That's it. By the way, just as a side note, I have finished the story for my comic book, and I'm going to be doing a video about that shortly. I'm ready to start storyboarding it. I am super excited because it is an awesome story, and it's the kind of thing that if I didn't know myself and I saw it on a bookshelf in a comic shop, I would certainly buy it. And I hope that you'll be excited about it as well. So it's a superhero science fiction story that is unlike any other thing that I've ever seen, and I've taken great pains to do it in such a way that I don't have rip-off characters. A lot of people say, "Oh, look, Marvel's got Quicksilver," or DC has The Flash. I've got stories with characters that aren't like that, and they're not derivative, and they're not agenda-driven. It's just a great story that you can enjoy regardless of your politics, regardless of your religion, regardless of whether you like the Yankees or you like the Dodgers. It doesn't matter whether you're a Man U fan or a Chelsea fan. It doesn't really matter. You would be able to enjoy this book. Man, woman, child, it's great. Thanks for watching Comics with Drew. I'm Drew, and I'll catch you next time.